Raider Nation? I am Mitchell Renz, host of the Raiders Report, and coming up here on today's show, I have seen a lot of rumors around social media, and I got to talk about these on today's program. I wouldn't be able to do today's show if it wasn't for our sponsor, Panda Supps, and if you need some awesome workout supplements, go to pandasupps.com. Use code JUSTWINBABY, and if you pay attention to the show a lot, you'll know usually it's a 20% off deal because the Raiders got to win, and they just won, baby. Code is JUSTWINBABY for 25% off. Now, on today's program, you're going to see rumors from all over the globe. And I looked at some of the top trending stories out there. One of the stories is around Ashton Jeanty. And for each of these rumors, I'm going to be giving them a Just Win, baby. I understand that we've had about 5,000 new subscribers in the last month. So you're probably like, Mitch, what the hell's a Just Win, baby? Let me explain it to you. When I talk about a story or a rumor, I like to talk about what is the chance or the likelihood or how real that rumor is. If you see something 0 Just Win, babies, tuck rule, tuck that. We did that for the Patriots. If something is 100% true, it's 4 Just Win, babies. Believe it, baby. 1, 2, 3. Y'all can read. That is our Raiders rumor meter. So the first story here, I've been seeing it everywhere. I wore this shirt today for a reason. Ashton Jeanty will be a bust for the Las Vegas Raiders. Get it out of here, man. Tuck rule, tuck that. 0 Just Win, babies. And I saw an article from Fansided. And then my guy Tom Downey and I used to always say, usually the trash only gets brought out one time a week. With Fansided, it gets brought out every single day. And this is what Fansided had to say about Ashton Jeanty being a bust. Yes, Jeanty did score a touchdown in his debut, a score that helped propel the Raiders to a 1-0 start on the season. That, however, doesn't mean he was remotely effective in this game. Well, you know what, Fansided? I got a statement to what you're saying because this sounds like Fansided is like every other box score watcher, box score warrior. Did you even watch the game? Like, in all honesty, did you watch the game? Because when you say shit like this, it tells me that you didn't watch the game. Could Ashton Jeanty been better? Yeah, he could have. But if you're putting the blame on number 2 and not the offensive line, you didn't even watch the game. I mean, the craziest stat that I have found out there, and maybe it's one of the craziest stats that I've seen since doing this show, Ashton Jeanty had 38 rushing yards. And he had 44 rushing yards after contact. Somebody go out and try to find a running back that had more yards after contact than actual rushing yards. That is why calling him a bust after a week 1 game where he had no running room to go at all is absolutely positively idiotic, and it shows you didn't watch the game. Let's keep rolling here with Fansided on Jeanty being a bust. Not only was Jeanty ineffective running the rock, but he wasn't a factor in the passing attack with 2 catches for 2 yards. On top of that, he struggled as a pass blocker for Geno Smith. Also, it wasn't the best day at the office for someone who came into the league with the pedigree of Jeanty and with the expectations of the 5th overall pick as well. Well, I will say this. I do agree that Jeanty needs to be better as a pass blocker because in my mind, I want him to be a bell cow. And if you're going to draft a running back at number 6 overall, he's got to be able to do everything well. I do have to watch Baldy breakdowns because I've been told multiple times today on our live program to watch it. I will say this. There were times when I watched the tape on Jeanty that you want him to do a little bit better of a job. And the 27.7 PFF grade does prove that he needs to get better at it. But that grade is way too low. And you also have to understand he's pass protecting in a wet and rainy environment in a game that they are sending all-out blitzes, and he's blocking linebackers, defensive ends in the rain and the wet environment. Let's realize the game conditions that number 2 was dealing with. And then Fansided said this. The Raiders always felt like that they were trying to rush a rebuild to some degree with Pete Carroll's arrival, and taking a running back for this roster with the number 5 pick is part of that. For it to not be deemed a mistake, Jeanty needs to be a star, and that didn't look to be the case on Sunday. If you're going to call a player a bust, and if you're going to say things that prove that you didn't watch the game, at least do your homework a little bit, right? Because it takes away everything that you just said. You're calling Ashton Jeanty the number 5 overall pick, and to me, details matter. And I do take offense when you start ripping apart my Raiders players because don't get me wrong, I'm never afraid to give my honest opinion. But when other people start picking us apart, I do feel some type of way. And Ashton Jeanty, minor detail, but the number 6 overall pick. If we were in a court case right now and you're throwing out facts that aren't 100% true, you're going to throw away your entire case. My point to you, whoever wrote this article at Fansided, you better do a better job, because if you ever want to get an upgrade at Chat Sports, you're not going to get an upgrade by writing shit like that. So that is why you subscribe to the Raiders Report. You're going to become a smarter Raiders fan. There's a reason why we have over 201,000 subscribers. I want to get to 202K at some point. I'd like to be able to get there before Monday Night Football against the Chargers. If you bleed silver and black, and if you believe in Ashton Jeanty, hit that subscribe button. Let's go to the next story here on the Raiders Report. The Las Vegas Raiders are the worst team in the AFC West. I'm going to give this one again. 0 just win, babies. Tuck rule, tuck that. I know there's a lot of football left to be played. Totally understand it. Totally understand it. But I looked at our NFL power rankings from our Chat Sports team. I'll say this. I actually did not put my rankings in. You bet your ass I'm putting my rankings in next week. The Raiders are ranked the worst team in the AFC West in the latest power rankings. And I'm not really going to get too crazy about Raiders at 18, Denver at 13, KC at 8, Chargers at 5. I love that we are the underdogs. I love the fact that people still doubt us. But to me, in the NFL, you need good quarterback play to win. There is one team in our division that has by far the worst quarterback play in it, and it is the Denver Broncos. Bo Nix is not even in the conversation as Geno Smith, Justin Herbert, Patrick Mahomes. I get they have an elite defense, but to me, the worst team in the AFC West is the Denver Broncos because they don't have a quarterback. So today's pinned comment is this. Who do y'all think is the worst team in the AFC West? If you think it's the Raiders, type LV. If you think it's the Chargers, type LAC. If you think it's the team that's actually in last place right now in the AFC West and doesn't have a single win, type KC. If you think it is the Denver Broncos, type DEN. My answer coming up here after this YouTube ad break. It is the Donkeys, and it is because of Bo Nix. Do they have an elite defense? Yes, they do. But does anybody out there think that Bo Nix is good enough to carry a team to a Super Bowl? I know I don't. I think Geno has the chance to do it. I think Justin Herbert is talented enough to win some games, and obviously Mahomes has done it. But to me, the biggest outlining factor is Bo Nix. And I'm not sitting up here saying PFF is the all-be-all. But when you are ranked the worst quarterback in the National Football League, and it's not close, there's a reason behind it. I know that I've been a Bo Nix doubter, but my eyes tell me one thing, and the tape proves it. He was the perfect placement with Sean Payton, and for anybody that watches Bo Nix play, I hope that you actually watch it and you don't look at the box score, because if you're only looking at box scores with Bo Nix stats, you're just as bad as Fansided. Coming up next here on the show, the Raiders have been linked to a free agent wide receiver, and I'm going to talk about who that free agent wide receiver is here in a little bit, because obviously with all the Amari Cooper stuff that happened the other day, we're going to have to talk about it. Before I do, though, today's show is sponsored by Panda Sups, and I was told today by our Panda Sups guy, who is a diehard Raiders fan. Again, shout out to him. Use code JUSTWIN, baby, for 25% off. In the 5-6 years that I have worked here, Panda Sups has never given me a QR code. And he basically told me, if Raider Nation wants the hookup, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, scan that QR code. I'll leave it to y'all. And I would recommend this. If you do end up scanning that QR code, I would say check out their premium protein. I would say check out their nootropic. I love it for when I get that middle of the day crash. My wife loves the superfoods. She loves the greens. She also loves their thermogenics, their fat burners. I personally don't always feel like I need a pre-workout. I know some people here at Chat Sports use their pre-workout. Actually, I gave Alper, the Patriots fan that you guys are beating the shit out of on our live show today, I actually gave him some of my old Panda Sups pre-workout. I love the BCAAs. I use them after every single workout. The bottom line is this. If you need some Panda Sups, workout supplements, some workout gear, some shakers, they got all sorts of stuff over there, use code JUSTWIN, baby, for 25% off at pandasups.com. That link's going to be down in the comments. It's going to be down in the description. And if you're somebody that believes that you want to support other Raiders fans, it is owned and operated by a diehard Raiders fan that has been watching and been a part of this show for 5+ years, and I respect and love the hell out of them. Coming up next here on the show, let's get into the Las Vegas Raiders being linked to a free agent wide receiver. And I was asked yesterday on Monday Night Football over and over and over again about Tyler Boyd. And usually when that happens, a little light bulb goes on in my head, and I'm like, well, why is everybody asking me about the same player over and over and over again? So I saw an article from Vince, not an article, but a statement from Vincent Bonsignor linking the Raiders to Tyler Boyd. So are the Raiders interested? I'm going to give it one just win, baby, and I'm going to say that there is a small shred of truth. I am not saying that there is no way that the Raiders are interested. I am more or less just simply saying that I think it is a little bit less likely. And Vinny in his tweet said, I'll throw out a name to keep an eye on, Tyler Boyd. I know I say this all the time, and I know that not everybody watches this show, but anytime you hear a Raiders beat reporter say anything, I want you to think of it as almost as if I am saying something, like giving my opinion, because no disrespect to our beat reporters, I don't think that they have proven that they have, reliable sources, and I'm not saying that Vinny is saying that we are interested in Boyd. What we got to realize is they give opinions just like anybody gives opinions, and you got to take that with an opinion. But I saw all these articles out there of like, Raiders are linked to Boyd. Raiders are interested in Boyd. There is nothing out there that says that. There was no reports out there that say that. I could see them being interested in a veteran wide receiver. Why? Because they were interested in Amari Cooper, and if you were interested in a veteran like Amari, I could absolutely see why you would be interested in a veteran like Tyler Boyd. But to me, there's another name out there that I think is a lot more likely to happen than Mr. Tyler Boyd. Now, if you haven't seen what he's done over the past 4 seasons, last year in Tennessee wasn't all that great. Their quarterback play obviously was trash. In 2023, 2022, 2021, that is with the Cincinnati Bengals. He's a Pittsburgh product, and he does offer you some of that ability in the slot, but here's the problem. If we're going to add a veteran wide receiver, do we need another slot guy? Like, I get that the plan was probably to put Amari behind Jacoby because that's what it was listed on the depth chart, and Tyler Boyd could be that backup plan to somebody along the lines of Jacoby Myers, but at the same time, like, I'm looking at our offense right now, and I'm going, if we're going to add a veteran, I want to add maybe a veteran that can play on the outside and on the inside a little bit. So should the Raiders sign Tyler Boyd, I want you to type sign or I want you to type pass. Let me know down below. My answer coming up here in just a moment. The reason why I'm going to sit up here and say there is a potential to sign him, I just think that there is a different player and a different route that I would go. Right now, to my knowledge, Tyler Boyd is a free agent. And, when I hear free agents at that age, I just get a little bit nervous because I'm like, is he in game playing shape, right? Like, I think it's kind of very similar to the Amari Cooper situation where, yes, these players are in, to some people, good shape. Amari was not. But to Tyler Boyd, there's a difference between being in shape and in football shape. So to me, if I'm looking at players, I'm going to look at somebody that is on a practice squad right now from a veteran standpoint. So that's why I'm going to probably pass on Boyd, and I'm going to go after another name. So from the wide receiver target standpoint, you have to at least, again, throw out Tyler Boyd if the Raiders are interested in a potential veteran. Another name that I'll at least throw out there is a Donovan Peoples-Jones from the simple side, aspect of he was a Michigan product, and the Raiders do value Michigan products because they're trying to build something for the long haul, though I wouldn't go out and get Donovan Peoples-Jones. Nelson Aguilar is a field stretcher. Maybe that could be something that they're looking for. I mean, Geno Smith was throwing the ball down the field. He right now leads the NFL in passing attempts or passing yards per completion and 20-yard completions with 9. So Aguilar, somebody's got some Raiders ties. The name I would go with, Robert Woods. And the reason why I would go with Robert Woods, right now he is currently on the Pittsburgh Steelers practice squad, so you at least know that he's getting some work in, he's getting some reps in overall. Chugs wants me to mention Odell Beckham Jr. I personally don't think that OBJ makes a lot of sense for this team. I also don't know if he's all that healthy, but in terms of Robert Woods, we know how important coaching connections are. And Pete Carroll and the Las Vegas Raiders Senior VP of Coaching Operations recruited Robert Woods to USC in 2009. He's played at least 14 games the past 3 seasons. That's 30 starts. So if I was the Raiders and I wanted to add a veteran, I would at least want to add somebody that does at least give me some of that reliability that he's going to be able to go out there and play, unlike an Amari Cooper. And then again for Woods, like, he is on that practice squad, so he's at least getting some reps going. I like the idea of it. We also have hired some people from the Pittsburgh Steelers in the past that have worked underneath Omar Khan, so there's at least a little bit of a relationship there. To me, the veteran receiver to keep in mind if we go this route, not so much Tyler Boyd, Robert Woods. And again, I think Vinny said Tyler Boyd because if you Google top free agent wide receivers, The top name on there is Mr. Boyd. I will say this, though. I will throw out some other names just of some potential replacements, if you will, that if the Raiders wanted to bring a guy in, because they already signed Justin Shorter to the active 53-man. So that's their replacement. They activated Alex Bachman. But these are three other receivers that worked with the Raiders the entire offseason that Spytek has kind of shown us that they're not going out looking for always the big name. They're probably going to bring in some of these minor players. And in fact, I'm live right now on Tuesday, and the Raiders worked out defensive back Isaiah Bolden, defensive back Alex Johnson, and wide receiver Samori Torre. Have you heard of any of those names? The answer to that is probably no. So to me, yes, we talk about Boyd. Yes, we throw out names like OBJ, but based on Spytek and based on what they've done this offseason, I don't really know if a splash is truly going to happen because when they have made splashes, they've gotten burnt from Amari Cooper. Now, if y'all don't already follow me on social media, I hope that you do. I'm at MitchellRens365 on Twitter, on Instagram. I'm doing my best to provide as much content around the silver and black as humanly possible. And if you like the content that I provide on YouTube, I would imagine then you're probably going to like the content that I provide on social media. It's also the easiest way for me to get to know y'all. It's also the easiest way. If you ever have a question, you can always hit me up. I do check my DMs to the best of my ability. But let's get one thing straight here. Ashton Jeanty, not a bust. Raiders, not the worst team in the AFC West. Tyler Boyd, I could see the link, but personally, I think Robert Woods just makes a little bit more sense.